Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really jumping in, taking a full immersion into the forces that are just fundamentally reshaping the whole crypto universe.
Yeah, we're looking at insights for 2025 and, beyond.
Exactly. And we've got a pretty comprehensive stack of research here to guide us through it all.
We do. We're pulling from the Crypto Predictions 2025 report from CoinCub, which is pretty authoritative. Also got insights from the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, always important for sentiment.
Hmm.
And then a deep dive into Internet Computer, ICP, using stuff from Crypto Educate, Investing Haven, Coin Codex, Coin Market Cap, and just generally what people are talking about out there.
Right. So our mission today, basically cut through all that noise and pull out the really crucial takeaways for you.
Yeah.
Everything from those huge market-wide shifts you hear about right down to the, well, ambitious and, let's be honest, often fiercely debated journey of a project like ICP. We really want to help you understand not just what's going on, but, why it actually matters. So, okay, let's start with the scale. Just how big is this getting? Our sources are projecting the global crypto market cap to go past, get this, $6 trillion by the end of 2025.
6 trillion, yeah, it's a staggering number. A huge leap from where we are now.
And it's not just about the money, right? It's about people actually using it.
Exactly. That's the key part. Adoption is expected to reach 800 million people by the end of 2025.
Wow.
Yeah. Put that in perspective, that's roughly 10% of the global population. So it feels like a real inflection point, moving from niche tech to something, well, more mainstream.
Definitely feels that way. Creates huge opportunities, but also, I imagine, big challenges for regulation.
Oh, for sure.
So that growth, what's
Yeah.
really fueling it, the sources seem to point to three main things.
Yeah, three big ones. First, a big surge in institutional investment. Second, stablecoins just keep getting more widely adopted.
All right.
And third, this whole area of tokenizing real-world assets.
Yeah.
That's really picking up steam.
Okay, let's talk stablecoins for a sec. They seem to be quietly doing some heavy lifting.
They really are. It's fascinating how they're reshaping global transactions, making cross-border payments, faster, way cheaper, much more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
They could potentially just bypass some of those old systems, like SWIFT. It's not just about convenience. It's like a fundamental rewiring of how money moves globally.
And the numbers, they're pretty wild too, right? Daily transactions potentially hitting, what was it?
Yeah, projections are like $300 to $400 billion daily.
Incredible.
And the whole stablecoin market itself, maybe $3 trillion within 5 years, could even surpass Bitcoin or Ethereum eventually.
Wow. And corporations are actually using them now, like for practical stuff.
Yeah, hedging against foreign exchange risk, that's
Yep.
a big one. It shows they're becoming a real utility, not just speculation.
But all this growth must bring up regulation questions. How's that playing out?
It's complex, yeah.
Yeah.
The U.S. is pushing hard for strict, like, one-to-one USD reserves, very focused on stability there. Europe, on the other hand, with their micro-regulations,
Mhm.
well, that had a direct impact on Tether, USDT. Required 30% reserves in EU banks.
And didn't that lead to USDT pulling out?
Pretty much, yeah. They exited that market. But then you look elsewhere, like the Middle East and North Africa, MEA region, Turkey's leading the way there, showing really significant stablecoin trading volume compared to their GDP. So you see these different approaches, different national strategies emerging.
Interesting divergence. Okay, switching gears slightly, but still huge. Bitcoin ETFs. That felt like a real watershed moment in 2024.
Oh, absolutely. Game changer. It wasn't just another product. It kind of legitimized Bitcoin for a lot of traditional finance players, even the really cautious ones.
And they've had a real impact already.
Huge impact. These spot ETFs, they've already soaked up over 1.5 million BTC. That's like 8% of the total supply.
Wow.
By just getting rid of the whole custody headache, they open the floodgates for giants like BlackRock, Fidelity. It changes the market dynamics completely, validates Bitcoin as a real asset class.
Okay, and you mentioned tokenizing real-world assets. That sounds futuristic, but it's actually happening now.
It is. Imagine owning, like you said, a tiny piece of a skyscraper or a corporate bond, all recorded on a blockchain.
Right.
Projections are over $100 billion in tokenized assets like real estate, bonds, government securities in 2025 alone.
So it brings liquidity to things that are normally hard to sell quickly.
Exactly. And it makes it possible for almost anyone to own a fraction, which is pretty democratizing for investment.
Didn't Larry Fink from BlackRock say something about this?
He did? Called tokens the next generation for markets? That's a massive endorsement, right?
Right.
Suggests a whole re-architecture of finance might be underway.
Okay, another huge topic, AI. seems to be everywhere. How is it impacting crypto, specifically DeFi?
Yeah, AI is the big story, and it's set to really transform DeFi. By the end of 2025, the prediction is AI agents could be managing like 25% of all DeFi assets.
A quarter. Wow. What do these AI agents actually do?
Well, they automate a lot. Sophisticated stuff like yield optimization, staking, making it easier for users to earn returns efficiently,
Mm-hmm.
but also critical things like compliance checks, AML, KYC, even real-time monitoring of blockchains for sketchy activity.
So security and compliance, too.
Right. And maybe just as importantly, AI is making the user experience way better, allowing you to interact with DeFi platforms using natural language.
Yeah.
Makes it accessible to way more people.
That accessibility piece is key. And this whole DeFi boom, it's also pushing people towards self-custody wallets, right? Taking control of their own assets.
Absolutely. It's a powerful shift, giving you, the user, direct control, moving away from relying on third parties like in traditional finance.
And what about decentralized exchanges, DEXs? Are they gaining ground?
Significantly. They now account for something like 40% of all crypto trading volume.
40%.
Yeah, and cumulative transactions are expected to blow past $3 trillion by the end of 2025. We're also seeing things like Bitcoin-backed loans taking off, projected over $5 billion there. It just shows DeFi maturing, offering more diverse products.
It really feels like it's bridging the gap. Now,
Yeah.
something maybe a bit more fun, but potentially huge for adoption, Web3 gaming.
Yeah, huge potential for bringing in new users. Projected to hit $80 billion by end of 2025.
80 billion.
Driven by these player-on models, player-owned economies where you actually own your in-game stuff and can make real money from it. It's more than just games. It's like a new digital economy.
Fascinating. Okay, what about meme coins? Are they still a thing?
Huh. Yeah, they are. Highly speculative, obviously. But coins like Doge, Shiba Inu, they still have huge, strong communities.
Right.
And you're even seeing them get integrated into DeFi, into payment systems, which is kind of wild.
Wasn't there something about presidential meme coins?
Oh, yeah, that weird trend like the Trump MP token, it peaked at a $15 billion market cap back in January 2025.
15 billion for a meme coin based on a politician?
Yep. Makes you wonder, right? What's happening when that kind of thing can have a market cap bigger than some countries' GDP?
Truly bizarre times. Okay, let's shift to the bigger picture, the geopolitical landscape. Is the U.S. still dominant in crypto?
The projection is definitely for the U.S. to dominate in 2025. A lot of that is chalked up to a more, let's say, pro-crypto administration and policies perceived as supportive.
And the data backs that up.
Strongly. Back in 2023, the U.S. apparently captured 30% of global crypto profits, more than the next 9 countries put together.
Wow.
Leads in Bitcoin ATMs like 80%, almost 30% of Bitcoin nodes, 40% of mining. U.S.-based projects projected to control 60% of global liquidity by end of 2025.
That's dominance. And wasn't there talk about a strategic Bitcoin reserve?
Yeah, potentially converting 207,000 seized Bitcoin into a national strategic reserve. It's more than just a treasury thing. It's almost like the government acknowledging Bitcoin might be, a geopolitical tool, like digital gold.
Interesting. So if the U.S. is rising, what about Europe? I heard their MiCA regulation caused some issues.
Yeah, MiCA seems to have really diminished Europe's role. The perception is it prioritized compliance over innovation, maybe too much.
And the effect was?
Pretty dramatic.
Right.
A shocking, like 99.5% drop in European crypto licensed companies. Went from 2,700 down to just 11 licensed CACPs by February 2025.
11.
Yeah. So talent, capital, it's flowing out. Crypto jobs there projected to fall by half in 2025. Plus, the European Central Bank is pretty openly anti-crypto, pushing their own CBDC while rejecting national Bitcoin reserves. Creates a real split.
So not just the U.S. then. Are other places stepping up?
Definitely. El Salvador, obviously, under Bukele, adopted Bitcoin, zero crypto tax. Tether even set up their global HQ there.
That's a big vote of confidence.
Yeah. Then you got the UAE with 0% crypto tax. Hong Kong is adapting strategically, even looking into a Bitcoin reserve, possibly with China's help. And maybe most significantly, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, plan to put up to 5% of national reserves into crypto.
Why?
To hedge against geopolitical risks, mainly, and reduce reliance on the U.S. dollar. It signals a real potential rebalancing of global financial power.
Okay, let's talk price predictions. Bitcoin. What are people saying for the end of 2025?
This sort of consensus projection seems to be around $180,000.
180K.
Yeah, though some analysts are saying maybe 125K, others up to 300K. And then you get the Super Bowls talking over $700,000. So quite a range.
Big range. What about Ethereum? Still number 2, but facing challenges.
Exactly. It's got legacy, but high fees, network congestion, those are real problems. And it's pushing people, institutions, towards faster networks.
Like Solana.
Solana's the big one, yeah. Projected to maybe hit $500 by end of 2025. It's scaling up, getting institutional interest, definitely positioning itself as a major competitor.
Okay, makes sense. Now, let's really dive deep into one specific project.
Yeah.
Internet Computer, ICP. A project with quite a history.
Uh-huh. Yeah, quite a history is putting it mildly. Launched back in May 2021, over $750.
And today, August 19th, 2025.
Hovering around $5.13. So yeah, a 99% drop from the peak. Brutal. A real lesson in volatility.
But behind that crazy price action, there's a really ambitious vision.
Incredibly ambitious. The Dfinity Foundation, the team behind it, they want to basically extend the internet itself, turn it into this massive decentralized computer.
Okay, what does that mean practically?
The idea is developers build their software, their apps, they call them canisters, directly on this decentralized network. Not just smart contracts for logic, but like the whole thing, front end, back end, data.
So like entire applications living on the blockchain.
Exactly. Canisters are more like self-contained microservices. The goal is faster, more secure, cheaper services compared to using traditional cloud platforms like AWS or Google Cloud.
So it's aiming to be a kind of decentralized AWS where the entire stack is on-chain. That's huge.
It is a massive claim.
Yeah.
And they also talk about being able to, quote, uncensor the internet globally, which is, incredibly bold.
Okay, so how does the ICP token itself fit into this? What does it do?
It has 4 main jobs, basically. Utilities within the protocol. First is governance.
Right.
You stake ICP in things called neurons to participate, vote on proposals about the network's future, and the longer you stake, the more voting power you get.
Ah, so it incentivizes long-term thinking.
Exactly. It encourages commitment. Second, there are cycles. Think of cycles as fuel.
Fuel
for computation and storage on the network. You convert ICP into cycles, and those cycles get burned to pay for resources.
Okay, like gas fees on Ethereum.
Sort of, but crucially, the cost is predictable because cycles are pegged to a basket of fiat currencies, and they use a reverse gas model.
Reverse gas, meaning?
Meaning the developers prepay for the computation their app will use, so the end users. They don't need to hold ICP tokens or pay gas to interact with the dApps.
Oh, that's interesting. Removes a big friction point for users.
Huge friction point. Okay, third utility, node provider rewards.
Paying the people who run the hardware?
Yep. ICP rewards the node providers running the machines that power the network. These rewards come from newly minted ICP, and they're fixed per node based on things like location, hardware costs, aims for a sustainable global network.
Makes sense. And the last one?
The ecosystem, specifically through something called the SNS framework, Service Nervous System.
Okay.
It lets users commit their ICP to new projects, new DAOs, basically, like decentralized crowdfunding. You commit ICP, you get that DAO's tokens back.
So like investing early in a new project on the platform.
Exactly. And crucially, the ICP you commit, it stays with the DAO to pay for its future computing costs, development bounties. It becomes the fuel for that project, making the ecosystem kind of self-sustaining.
That's pretty clever. So it's this mix of inflation and deflation happening all the time. Burning cycles deflate supply, rewards inflate it.
Right, a constant balancing act baked into the protocol.
Okay, let's talk about where ICP is right now. Price around $5.13 as of August 19th. CoinMarketCap AI noted a drop recently.
Yeah, August 20th, it noted a 2.07% fall in 24 hours, actually underperforming the wider market.
Any reasons given?
They linked it to some institutional selling, general macro worries like U.S. inflation ticking up. The July PPI rose 0.9% month over month, which spooked markets a bit, and just general technical weakness on the chart.
And what's the overall market sentiment looking like, the fear and greed index?
Well, for Bitcoin, which often reflects the broader mood, it was 44 fear on the 19th, then nudged up to 45 neutral on the 20th. That's quite a drop from 63 greed just the week before.
So general caution in the market.
Yeah. But interestingly, CoinCodex on the 19th showed the ICP-specific fear and greed index at 56. That's actually in the greed zone.
Huh. So maybe some localized optimism around ICP despite the broader market? Or just different data?
Could be either, yeah. Highlights how sentiment can vary.
Was there any positive news recently? I saw something about a developer tool.
Right. CoinMarketCap AI also noted on August 18th, ICP had a small 0.47% rise, partly defending key support levels, but also because Definity launched Lintoko. Yeah, it's a tool to help developers write better, cleaner code for the platform. So positive development news happening underneath the price action.
Okay, so the million-dollar question, or maybe the $5 question right now. Will ICP recover? What are the forecasts saying?
Yeah, the big question. Forecasts are, well, all over the place, honestly. For 2025, some see a range, maybe low $4, like $4.29, up to maybe $11.20, average around $7.60.
Okay, modest recovery.
Others are more bullish, seeing a range more like $4.40 up to $20.20, with maybe a first target around $21.50, and a really optimistic case hitting $30.
So quite a spread even for next year. What about further out, 2026?
Predictions there range from maybe $11.15 on the low end up to nearly $30.50, $31.89. For 2027, some forecasts are around $25, others push towards $49 if it can break through key resistance levels. That would be significant.
And longer term, like 2028, 2030?
For 2028, seeing potential highs around $36.80. By 2030, some predictions suggest it could reach up towards $88.88.
Okay, $88 getting more optimistic. But what about that original hype? The $1,000 ICP dream?
Yeah, that unicorn target seems highly unlikely based on current data and forecasts. Predictions out to 2031 seem to top out around $130.
Only $113 by 2031.
According to some models, yeah. CoinCodex even went out to 2050 and estimated a highest price of only $35.39 and explicitly said ICP won't reach $1,000 based on their analysis. So, got to keep expectations realistic.
Definitely grounds things. Okay, despite the tech and the vision, ICP faces a lot of criticism, right? That launch still hangs over it.
Oh, absolutely. Many people just remember that brutal price crash, and it left a really bad taste.
What are the main criticisms, technically or fundamentally?
A big one is centralization. Critics point out that you need permission to run a node. You can't just spin one up. And Definity, the foundation, still has the power to remove nodes.
How does that square with the whole decentralization ethos?
It's a major point of friction, yeah. How do proponents answer that? Is there a path to giving up that control? That's a key question. Then there are just the straight-up scam accusations stemming from that launch.
Right, people felt burned. Weren't there allegations involving SBF?
Yes, some theories link the initial dump to alleged market manipulation by figures like Sam Bankman-Fried trying to kill the project early. Hard to prove, but the accusations linger.
And even the name, Internet Computer, gets made fun of sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Sounds a bit grand. Perception matters, even if it seems trivial.
Any other concerns?
Just the sheer scale of ambition. Trying to boil the ocean, solve too many huge problems at once, and then the challenge of actually getting developers and users on board, especially after that rocky start and the skepticism it created.
Okay, so lots of challenges, but what's the bull case? Why do people still believe in it?
Well, proponents argue it's genuinely unique tech. They say it's the only blockchain that can really host full-stack apps, front-end, back-end, data completely on-chain.
Without needing AWS or Google Cloud behind the scenes?
Exactly. True top-to-bottom decentralization, they claim.
Yeah.
Not just tokens or simple logic, but entire web applications living on the blockchain.
And they claim it's efficient, too.
Highly efficient. They talk about super cheap transactions, incredibly low data storage costs, like $5 for a gigabyte versus, what was it? $100 on Solana, or millions on Ethereum.
That's a staggering difference if true.
Yeah, and web speed, block times, making apps feel responsive. Plus, it integrates natively with Bitcoin, Ethereum. Acts like a connecting layer, a glue for the whole crypto space.
And development hasn't stopped.
Not at all. They integrated Dogecoin, released something like 40 new features just in 2025. It shows active, ongoing progress, suggests there's real substance there, maybe underestimated potential despite the controversies.
So we've covered a lot today. The expanding crypto universe in 2025, stablecoins, AI, those big geopolitical shifts, and then this deep dive into the complex story of Internet Computer.
Yeah, it really feels like finance is at this massive crossroads, doesn't it? Trying to balance regulation with just incredibly fast technological change, Bitcoin surging, Ethereum facing hurdles, ICP with its huge vision, it's all moving at warp speed.
So for you listening, it really brings up a fundamental question, doesn't it? In this world where finance is being totally disrupted, what's going to be the next foundational layer, the next internet for the digital economy?
Right. Will it be the established players adapting?
Mm-hmm.
Or will something truly new, like Internet Computer aims to be, actually take hold? Or maybe just a mix of different solutions working together?
And how do you, as an individual investor or just someone interested in this space, navigate all these shifts, the innovation, the regulation? It's a lot to track.
Constant learning curve.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.
Thanks for having me.